Ladies and gentlemen, weekend one of the Modern Warfare 3 beta has come to an end as of today, and it is going back live on Thursday at, I believe, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just convert that to your time zone. That's when it's live on PC, Xbox, and of course, PlayStation as well. Later in the weekend, going to be completely open to anyone, even if you haven't pre-ordered the game. This video I wanted to make in kind of a response to yesterday's video. I made a kind of overall review of the first weekend of the beta, and already Sledgehammer has come out and said what they will be fixing moving into weekend 2, and they're essentially the biggest things people have asked for, minus one thing: skill-based matchmaking. This is a discussion that we have every single year, and as you could tell by the title, the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about it once again in this video. How it could potentially be ruining Modern Warfare 3, but there's a bit of a twist specifically with this game. You'll see what I mean as we get into that. And there is one other thing by the end of the video that I wanted to discuss, talk about, and it's something that really hasn't been mentioned much aside from me in yesterday's video and Exclusive Ace earlier today on Twitter. You'll see what I mean when we get into that. But first, let's look at what is actually going to be changing going into weekend 2. So essentially 12 minutes ago, Sledgehammer tweeted out saying, weekend 1 of the Modern Warfare 3 beta has come to an end. We'll be back on Thursday with the highly anticipated return of High Rise. I'm definitely looking forward to that. The debut of Cutthroat, that's the multi-team game mode that kind of works like Search and Destroy, I believe, but there's 3 different teams and y'all try to kill each other. Mixed between kind of gunfight, search and destroy, but with multiple teams, and more expected throughout the weekend ahead. I believe search and destroy is one of those, but I don't know what else they have in store. They also say, until then, we'd like to take a moment to thank you for your feedback. Our team is hard at work on further improvements for weekend 2 and beyond. Later this week, you can expect an update with some of the top concerns observed, including, but not limited to, operator visibility. So that is the biggest one. We're going to dive a little bit more into that in a sec. Slide timing, so that when you come out of your slide, you can ADS and shoot a little bit quicker. Then the weirdest one, the one I don't understand, spawn selection. So that obviously has to do with spawns on the map, but I don't know what spawn selection means. If you can pick where you spawn on a 6v6 map, I don't know, but that one is certainly interesting. Now, the next thing I wanted to discuss in this video is skill-based matchmaking. So Charlie Intel tweeted this out earlier today. I wanted to kind of read it and then give you my opinion on it. So it says, skill-based matchmaking has been in every Call of Duty game, but obviously tuned up extremely in Modern Warfare 2019. SBMM will never be removed from Call of Duty. It clearly works for their metrics, no matter how much anyone complains. Activision refused to talk about it, even in in-person conversations. So this is 100% true. I've been to multiple Call of Duty events, and every time skill-based matchmaking is brought up, they either play it down or act like it doesn't even exist. However, we know this. The players who play more get better scores, kill more people, die less, play against better players, and this 100% has an effect on connection. I will get to that in a second. The thing is it is never going to be removed from Call of Duty. And as I've talked about before, as other people in the community have talked about before, it has moved away from something that is called skill-based matchmaking to something that is more of retention-based matchmaking. It'll throw you against a couple of hard teams, and then you'll get a little bit easier of one. Essentially, it's designed to make people play as long as humanly possible, because the longer they play, the more likely they are to spend money, and in turn, more money in Activision's pocket. Throughout the weekend of the beta, at first, skill-based matchmaking felt like much less. And I think there's a couple of reasons for this. First of all, people are learning the game, so people haven't improved to the level where there are better players. But as I was streaming yesterday, it got towards the end of the stream, and all of a sudden, I started lagging quite substantially. And I must say, I'm playing on PlayStation. I lag more on PlayStation than I do on PC, at least in other games that was the case. And I was just chalking it up to that. But I got off, made a video yesterday, got back on, and all of a sudden, not only was I lagging every game, but it seemed like everyone I was playing against was much, much better at the game. Now, I understand with specifically a game like this, with a longer time to kill and more movement mechanics, it means that the skill gap of the game is higher. This is no change to that. Just like other games with higher health, there is more skill required to be good at this Call of Duty game than, say, Modern Warfare 2, which means when you get placed up against those even stronger players in the way that they use skill-based matchmaking, it is going to feel even harder to do good against those players. In other words, it's less likely that you're just going to get lucky and do well. Those players with that higher skill gap are going to succeed way more often. And I think that is essentially what I was feeling in this game. And just like Charlie Intel says, Skill-based matchmaking isn't going anywhere. We have this conversation every single year, and every single year gets passed over. It stays in the game and never gets changed. I don't see any difference happening this year. And yeah, it sucks, but I also understand why it exists. Those players who really aren't as good, if they just get thrown in against gods of the game, what are the chances that they're going to continue to play this game? I understand why it exists. The problem occurs when your connection is interrupted because of this. And Exclusive Ace did some stuff over on Twitter yesterday where essentially he had an account that he'd been playing on and then a new account, and his connection was substantially better on the new account that hasn't been affected by skill-based matchmaking. That is a big problem. It's not as big of a problem if you live in somewhere like LA or New York where there's a lot of servers around you and you don't have any problem connecting to people. But I live in Canada. I believe Exclusive Ace does as well. And because of that, servers are further away from us, which means if skill-based matchmaking affects us more, in other words, the better of a player you are, the worse your connection is going to be to the game. And that is a big, big issue. Now, I'm not saying I want to crap on every single lobby that I get into. I like close games. They make the game fun, but every once in a while, getting into a game where I feel like the best person in the lobby does feel good. But what doesn't feel good at all is getting into a game where I feel like I have a disadvantage because my connection is worse just because I'm a better player. That is where my issue comes into this. Whether skill-based matchmaking exists or not, we're not going to have an effect on this by making the video. What I'm hoping this goes towards is making connection a priority, even though this might not help at all. That's my opinion on it. You can let me know what you think. If you played the beta throughout the weekend, let me know, did skill-based matchmaking affect you? Did you notice it less, more than Modern Warfare 2? Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. The one thing that I will say, I got really annoyed by the Striker by the end of the beta. Everyone was using it. It was by far the best weapon, killing people in 4 bullets, whereas other assault rifles at the same range were killing in 6 bullets. That's definitely overpowered. If anything, if there's a weapon to be nerfed or other weapons to be buffed, that is, I think, the one that needs to be adjusted. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is once again going back to Twitter. If you don't already follow me over there, it is linked down in the description. Also, I'm streaming every day. Tomorrow, we are streaming me getting or unlocking the polyatomic camo. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, so check that out. Those will be both linked down in the description. But what Exclusive Ace had to say today is, I've been seeing some talk about health regen in Modern Warfare 3 beta, and just to arm you guys with data, time to heal is starting at 4 seconds. So in other words, after you take damage, 4 seconds after, that's when you start to heal. And the healing rate is 40 HP per second, which means it takes approximately 7.5 seconds to fully heal. I did respond to this. This was my response. When he gives us the numbers, he said that that is a fairly typical amount of time for a Call of Duty game. But what's not typical is the amount of health in this Call of Duty game. We have 150 HP, which means if you get shot once or twice and you have 75 HP, for example, and then you go into a gunfight with someone with 150 HP, that difference is much bigger than if the base set of health is only 100. It also takes a little bit longer to heal to the full amount. Also, this game is pushing towards a fast play style, faster movement, faster using grenades and things like that, faster ADS. And with us not being able to regen health faster, that makes it so you can't play quite as aggressive. And by the end of the beta, I found myself literally just sitting there waiting for my health to regen before I hopped into another gunfight, which slows down play and makes the game more boring. Now, at this point, we don't know if a perk like Quick Fix, where after you kill someone, you regen health, or stims are going to exist in the game. I am hoping that they do, because that will speed up the way that I play the game, and to me, make the game more fun. What I do worry about is in a game like Black Ops 4, where the health was higher, stims were such a crutch that literally I'd get in a gunfight and stim after every single gunfight, and it was just a constant motion. And of course, that causes a problem, a crutch in the gameplay, and that is never good. So finding that fine line between the two is where they're going to struggle. But if Quick Fix exists or stims, I think that will improve that drastically. As of right now, Battle Rage does exist, but it works differently than those two do. You have to use it before you go into a fight, and it only works when you get a kill. It just doesn't quite work the way that I would like my health to regen. We know it was broken, but I'm curious to see how they address this one moving forward, or if they do at all. That's essentially it. That is what we know is changing going into weekend 2. I'm hoping the Striker gets nerfed, but we'll have to wait and see for that one. But we have those adjustments. Those are my thoughts on skill-based matchmaking, health regen. I want to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments. And if you've been enjoying these Modern Warfare 3 videos, make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're